Good afternoon to our viewing audience. Well, we've been off the air for a few months, but we want to thank you for being so attentive, and we want to welcome you to MCC's Community Outreach Update Show. We are back, and we're hoping that we can bring you very good information that will tell you what is going on in Muskegon, around Muskegon, and especially what's happening here at Muskegon Community College. Today we are very fortunate to have with us our esteemed president, Dr. Dale Nesbary, and we are excited for him to tell us about the many activities that are happening right here on this beautiful campus in Muskegon. Good afternoon, Dr. Nesbary.
Ms. Williams, it's a pleasure to be here again.
Well, thank you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for us. Well, let's get started with just talking about what we want to talk about this afternoon, and we want to give you an opportunity to let our viewers know and to our students. Why don't you start by giving us a brief overview of what has transpired since our last interview in 2014 on our campus?
Sure, we've been doing lots of things, and the major question that comes up is, what are you doing in terms of your downtown campus? How's it going with the Chronicle building? But that's just one small part of what we're doing. Our Board of Trustees supported the college in our master plan 6 years ago now to help reconstruct our campus and build the facilities that would help our students be successful and help connect us to our community in a more broad and significant way. And we've been doing that. We've actually opened our science center, a 20,000 square foot building, life sciences, biology, and some of the other areas that are important to our students and to our business community and our broader community. We also renovated roughly 25,000 square feet of chemistry, respiratory therapy, physics, geology. If you walk through these spaces here on campus, I say it looks like Star Trek. Facilities that you would not recognize, so advanced and so cutting edge that I think our college is now competitive with any college in the nation. So that's just one of the projects that we've been working on to help our students.
Wow, and that sounds, I have walked through the new sites and it's very beautiful. It's, you're right, it's wonderful to look at. Now, where do we go from here?
Well, we have lots of projects in order. And what I like to say is we wanted our college, our master plan wanted our college to fit our community, meaning the facilities that we have here are good and solid facilities for our students and for our business community, for our K-12 environment, for all of the resources that we have here in the community. So, for example, we are going to be opening our downtown campus in about a year and a half. And what that includes is the former Muskegon Chronicle Press building and the Masonic Temple. Our entrepreneurism programs are going to be a key program there, but also advanced manufacturing, welding, experiential learning. Some of the programs that some of our residents may be familiar with that are offered by two of our esteemed faculty members, Kurt Troutman and George Maniatis, at the Silver Size Museum. If you've attended any of those classes and seen some of what they're doing, sending our students to places like Gettysburg and other historic locations, those programs are going to be moved to the former Muskegon Chronicle building, now our Masonic, now our downtown center. So I could go on, but those are some of the key programs that are going to be downtown. Now, wait, there's more, right?
Okay, all
so
right.
There's more. Our health center, our Bartles Road Gymnasium, as it's currently known as, is actually used 80% by academic programs. Athletics only uses that facility 20%, and it's woefully inadequate in terms of our academic programming. So we will be expanding that building by roughly 60,000 square feet, adding a wide variety of programs that are related to our allied health profile, including supporting our nursing and respiratory therapy programs. We'll have many more spaces for training, athletic training, kinesiology programs. We will have a large fitness center to be used by the broader community, by our students, by our faculty, and our staff. Something that we simply haven't had here at the college that we've needed for, I'll say, decades. So that will be in place as well about 2 years from now. But immediately, something that our students and faculty and staff and community will be able to use is the Muskegon Family Y building on Western Avenue. We recently purchased that facility, purchased the building. We in the process, retired the debt that was on the building and on the YMCA, causing the building not to be able to be renovated in the way that it needed to be. So we're going to do all of that work. We're going to continue memberships for former Y members. We will actually, those memberships will be slightly less than what was paid before. So all those programs that you might be familiar with, programs in the natatorium, swimming programs, Pilates, spin bike programs, like spin bikes myself. That we have there's a spinning program there,
Wow.
full weight programs. So we're going to renovate the building and bring it up to snuff. Now the other program that I'm missing includes our creative and performing arts programs.
Yes.
You know, we've talked about this in the past, Mary, and you've been through our art building, which was constructed in 1978, I'll say, as a temporary building, pole barn, that wasn't up to the requirements of our faculty and our students and our art community. So the building that our engineers and manufacturers are currently in, that's our tech building, that building is going to be vacated, and those folks are moving downtown.
Oh, great.
Now, the art department and the music department are going to move into the former tech building. That will be a new art building to be named at a later date, but it will provide, I'm told, 70,000 square feet of space, where art currently has, I think, 9,000, and music has roughly the same. So we're doing lots of stuff here. And I can talk about the financing in a minute, but we're well on the way to having all of this financed as well.
That is absolutely wonderful. I'm excited because when you've got a number of years at a site, as
Sure.
some of us who are older ones,
I'm there.
Yeah. Well, we kind of enjoy the excitement of something new and what it will offer our community. And I'm sure that when you started this project, you had the students in mind. So that will offer our students, what will it offer our students?
Well, it'll offer them facilities that match or are better than any college or university they may attend. If, say, our health center, for example, there are plans to have a fully configured primary health care center here on campus as part of our health center. Part of that 66,000 square feet expansion will be a primary health care center for if you're a college campus community member, or if you're a community member anywhere on this side of town. You'll be able to come here, see your doc, see your nurse, see your physician's assistant, and receive health care here in this side of Muskegon. That's something that we haven't talked much about it, but we're working on that. Wow. But you'll see generally facilities that in some cases don't exist. An entrepreneurism center, we might have discussed this earlier in the year, but that was a center that was the former Masonic Temple building donated to us specifically for the purpose of providing entrepreneurial training for students anywhere from art to music to manufacturing to programs across the curriculum. I mean, generously donated to us by business owner and developer John Rooks, and the Sarnacolas provided a $200,000 entrepreneurism fund for one of our students beginning in 2017 to compete for and to receive roughly $10,000 to start their own business. That's extraordinary.
Wow.
These programs simply don't exist at comparable colleges, and we have them in place, and we're building the facilities to help our students get ahead. That's the most important thing for us.
Then that's absolutely great. And one of the things that I like about what you've done since you've been here is that you're moving us into the century that we're living in and beyond. And so what's going on, the perspective on the future, can you tell us, are we close to where you want to be, or are we getting, what perspective do you have for it right now?
Well, we're getting there. And I would say, I'll go back to 2009 when I was interviewed. One of the things the board said that they wanted was to have our college look forward, look into the future. And they wanted to see us accomplish that by having our students be able to one succeed in a way that was appropriate for the 20th century, or 21st century, excuse me, and have us have the facilities that we needed for our students to be successful. So I think on both counts, through our student success and completion agenda, which is being led by our vice presidents, primarily Dr. John Selman, and then Vice President Teresa Sturris, and many people on campus who are doing hard work to help our students graduate on time, graduate with certificates or degrees. They're better able to do that if they walk into, say, a science laboratory and they see state-of-the-art equipment as opposed to hoods and stools that have been here since 1967.
Yes.
I mean, this is where we are now. We are in 2015 and beyond. So I'm very proud of what we as a group have been able to accomplish.
Well, thank you, Dr. Nesbary. Now, we're getting to that part that everyone wants to know.
Sure.
How are we funding all of this?
Well, the one thing that I did not want to do was, as a couple of our trustees remind me on a regular basis, do this on the back of our students. Now, our tuition is up a little bit, but we're right in the middle of our what's called our Group 2 colleges, and those are colleges that have anywhere from about 3,500 to about 8,000 students. And depending on how you count it, we're at anywhere from about 4,500 students to about, during a semester, to 6,800 to 7,000 students year-round. So we want it to be at about that level. That's where we are. But these facilities are going to cost upward of $40 to $50 million. And we've raised, through multiple mechanisms, most of those dollars, including initially nearly a $4.7 million appropriation from the state legislature to help build our science center, a $24 million bond initiative that was supported by our voters here in Muskegon County to fund the base of most of what we're trying to accomplish. We also received $4.1 million from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to help purchase equipment for the downtown center. So that's another piece. And as of about a month ago, we received $2.54 million. I'll have to check with VP Sturris to make sure, or Dan Renzema, the workforce director, to make sure I'm not messing that up, but $2.5 million to help fund the bricks and mortar of our downtown center. So that gets us to the $35-36 million level. And we still have a ways to go, but that will help us fund most of what we're doing. Little ways to go. We'll use some of our college's resources, our reserves, I should say. The college has been managed financially very well for years and years. So that gives us the opportunity to do things like purchasing the Muskegon Y and then upgrade that facility, in some cases with our reserves, in some cases with additional funds that we're to raise. Another piece is that with respect to the former Y building and our on-campus fitness center, we'll have memberships that will be made available to the community. As I said earlier, we'll use those resources as well to help us pay for the operations of these facilities. That's a question I received. Well, you have all this new space, how are you going to pay for it? You need people, and part of it is going to be having some of the resources that come with having a fully configured fitness center on our campus. That definitely helps.
Now that's wonderful news, and we want to thank you for your vision and where you're taking us. I can proudly say as a 25-year tenured person, I just love when they say MCC. But last year, you and I talked a little bit at your last about what President Obama's State of the Union address, about what he was offering for the community colleges. How has that played a part? Have we realized any of that support as of yet?
We have, to a certain extent. I think what President Obama wanted to do was to move the conversation forward. The question is, why does much of the developed world, and non-developed world for that matter, offer free high school and at least 2 years of college to their residents, and we don't do that here in the United States? That's a very good question. So it's up to us as a society to want to be ahead of the game, to be state of the art, to provide our students an education that will allow them to earn a job as opposed to seeing it go to someone else. simply because we don't provide that education for them. And that's something that I believe that as an educator, we need to do for our residents and as a parent of college students and college graduates, I should say. That's very important. So locally, and this is not just me, this is our board, and this includes people here on campus and people in our broader community. We believe that we shouldn't wait for Congress or the president to do something for us. If we wait, and as a former political science professor, I can guarantee you sometimes it's going to be for a very long time.
Yes.
So what we've done here in Muskegon is created the Muskegon Promise, based upon a statute that was originally passed by the legislature and signed by the governor about 6-7 years ago, but modified so that we in Muskegon may launch our own version of what most people may be familiar with, the Kalamazoo Promise, so with a goal of providing free 2-year education to every student in the county. And so what the promise does is, based upon private fundraising initially, and then matching fundraising from the increase in property tax revenues coming to the college, use those revenue sources to support that free education. Mm-hmm. Now what that means is that for what we're doing now for our students, many of our students are on financial aid and they receive some scholarship funding. Mm-hmm. These dollars would be, quote, last dollars, so after every other dollar has been put in place, then we would make up the difference. Oh. We'd make up the gap. And so that would allow initially for students with a 3.5 GPA or above to receive free college education. And as we continue to fundraise on the private side, we can move that back to 3 to 2.5 and ultimately to having all of our students receive free college education. So the promise is getting started right now. We expect that students, some students this semester will benefit from the promise. The next semester we'll have more. Next August, September, we'll have many more students benefiting. So I guess the bottom line is, thanks to the work of our local school districts, the Muskegon Area Intermediate School District, and people like Steve Parker, who chairs our Muskegon Promise Zone Authority Board, of which I'm a member, and Lee Coggin, president of Baker, is a member, and John Severson of the MEISD, Dr. John Severson, chair of the president of superintendent of the ISD. We're all part of this, and many business leaders are a part of this as well. We want to make sure that our students are competitive. Yes. I don't want to spend another year, another minute having to think that our students can't compete with students from elsewhere because we don't have the education or the capacity to provide an education to our students that other communities do.
Wonderful. Well, as we come to another exciting year at MCC, another year of business, are there any implementations that you haven't talked about that are about to come about? Sure.
Well, we actually have done a couple things I didn't mention. If you visit campus, you would see a brand new bookstore here, Barnes & Noble student bookstore, but it has more stuff than the typical student bookstore. You'll find lots of food. You'll find lots of MCC swag, I'll say, water bottles, sweats, and other local merchandise that you can't acquire anywhere else. So we've doubled the size of our bookstore. We've effectively doubled the size of our food service as well. We have the Brook Cider Bistro now in our student union. Really good food. I'm a salad guy. Mary, you're a salad person. Got that salad bars back and paninis, all sorts of nice food service. But those are sort of off the radar. But we've been doing that work to make sure that we're good to go. I didn't mention in our downtown center we will have a bookstore, a Barnes & Noble bookseller there as well. That again a little bit more broadly cast than the typical college bookstore, as well as open to the community, and we will have also a credit union located there. And we're thinking of how do we service not just the college, but how do we service the broader community so that there's more economic development associated with what we're doing. I mean, there's construction and the jobs that come along with that, but we want people to come downtown because there's a lot to do there. And if there's more banking, you can buy a book, buy stuff in a nice bookstore, there's nothing wrong with that either. So that's what we're thinking about. And that's what's kind of on the agenda.
Well, good. Oh, I'm just so excited to have you here. We've heard some wonderful news and activities that are going on, but I do have one last question. We're getting almost close to the end of this segment, but
Sure.
we certainly will have you back again as we move along into the next year. But the question that I really want to pose to you now is, in lieu of all of the things and the negativity and the upsetting events at other community colleges and universities around the country, what actions have you and your administrative staff taken to ensure the safety of our students and our community college?
Well, we've done a number of things, and it is disturbing to see what has happened, not just relatively locally, but as far as Umpqua Community College in Oregon and elsewhere. It's something that we consider as an administrative team, as well as our board on a daily basis. I would say in 2010, we switched our security services to Advanced Security. They're the second largest security service firm in the nation, and I think they do an excellent job for us. But we did that because we wanted to make sure that we had security that looked and acted and behaved like security, with not all but mostly MCOL certified staff. So we wanted people who understood security, who worked it on a daily basis and could compare what they do with what's happening around the country. We've implemented a number of security protocols here on campus that in some cases did not exist before but do exist now. We have a behavioral intervention team which is specifically in place to examine threats. It's basically a threat assessment body. It includes faculty, staff, students, and members of the administration, so that if something happens, if someone sees anything that looks amiss, they can, through technology and through our systems here, communicate immediately and respond to that threat. We have an office that we made available to the Muskegon Police Department. It's in our financial aid office, and so they may use that anytime they would like. And if you see Muskegon Police on our campus, that's why. We want to make sure that we have local law enforcement on our campus, familiar and understanding with and about our students. So very important. I mean, recently, well, let me say this: we have a number of drills that we run, not just fire drills or OSHA-related drills, but we're in the process of conducting a weapons assessment or a live active shooter drill that's going to take place next month. I mean, actually that's what a lot of people say: are you doing active shooter, are you doing this, doing that? But there's a lot that comes into play before those things happen, and we want to make sure that we have our see something, say something policy as an example. That's in place.
Yes.
And I know we've talked about my background in law enforcement with the Boston, Massachusetts Police Department. I mean, because of that personal experience as a research director and technical services director, that's top of mind for me. People ask me, what's the most important thing for you on campus? I say they think I'm going to say some educational program. I say safety.
Yes.
If we're safe, then we're able to do the things that we do. We're able to learn, we're able to teach, we're able to go about our business. So it's critical that we maintain that profile and we continue to conduct the kinds of analyses that we do on a daily basis, and we install the kinds of equipment, cameras and swipes and things that help. But people have to be informed, they have to be trained.
Yes.
They don't rise to their level of the employees typically in an organization don't rise to the level of their equipment or so forth. They devolve or they fall to their level of training or lack thereof. So that's important for us. I know that was a long answer, but that's a very important question. I'm glad you asked it.
Well, we are happy that you took the time to be with us, and knowing that we're getting close to the end of this segment, and I know that we have so many other topics that people would be interested in, but we really appreciate your candidness and talking with us and making
Sure.
us feel safer, because we want our students to continue to come to MCC and feel safe about being here.
Absolutely.
So we just want to give you have a few minutes. If there's anything that I didn't ask you that you want to share with the community, you can do that. We'll allow you that time to do that now.
Sure, sure. I would just say that our broader community, I think, needs to, take a close look at what we're doing here at the college. I know I've discussed some of the programs that we have here, but we have 80-some academic programs and co-curricular programs for our students. We have more athletic programs than any other community college in the state. And those students, by the way, are more likely to succeed. They have higher GPAs, and they stay semester to semester, year to year, more than the average students. We have a strong Phi Theta Kappa honor society, which are some of the best, if not the best. And I constantly share with them, they're the best students on campus. They're great academically. They do great things in the community, and it's a national organization that develops leadership among students. So as a college, we're not just a place to come and drop your bags off, go to class, and leave. We have so many resources here that are available to our students and to the broader community that buildings are, they all come and they all go, but really what lasts here are the programs. You'll come here because of entrepreneurism. You'll come here because of a great philosophy program or a great music program. That's what students look for. And I would encourage anyone to come, walk around, take a look at our buildings, but talk with our faculty, talk with our professors and our students. And I think the average person will get a good sense of that this is a great college, and I welcome people to come.
Well, thank you. Well, there you have it. We've been talking with our esteemed president of MCC, Dr. Dell Nesbary, and if you want to continue to follow him and his comments, you may visit him. His blog is on www.muskegoncc.edu. And again, we are just welcoming our community, our audience, to keep in touch with us. We want to hear from you. And you may call me at 231-777-0582 or leave me a comment at mary.williams@muskegoncc.edu. Thank you, Dr. Nesbary, for being with us and taking time out to talk with us. And we welcome you to come back with us in about 6 months and keep us up to date with all the exciting things that are going on. And as always, when you think of community colleges, you think of Muskegon Community College, the most beautiful college on this side of the state. Thank you. This is Mary Williams, and we'll see you next time.